players say is indicative that though it cannot be business as usual, collaborations and innovations to align with the best of producers to stay afloat cannot be compromised. To this effect, President Muhammadu Buhari gave a commitment to making Nigeria a credible investment destination. Lydia Sampson reports.
The global energy mix is changing with more focus on climate-friendly, clean and cheaper energy. Nigeria is resolved to key into the transition to renewables, with many sponsors cautious about investing in fossil fuel. Key players say collaboration to harness and reduce production costs for sustained transition is the way to go.
The pandemic has provided a lot of opportunities for us to look inwards, and what we are saying, for example, in the local content front, we expect that we will begin to look at opportunities for developing our local capacity because of what the pandemic did to us.
Today, the whole world is transiting towards more renewables, and energy companies must see that opportunities, both in terms of producing the current resources and also moving to new resources, renewables, solar, wind, and other resources that are available. But for us, most importantly, the world will still be utilizing gas for a long time to come.
We need to use our natural resources to transit into the renewables. You cannot abandon the natural resources and then all of a sudden you wake up to renewable discussion.
There is huge opportunity for decade of gas. Growth for our economy, increase for GDP, creation of job, elimination of poverty, energy security, and so many other things.
For these projections to yield needed results, the fiscal environment must be made right. And President of the Senate says the PIB will be passed in June.
We are very hopeful that we will be able to pass it this month of June. And I want to appreciate the cooperation and partnership between the two arms of government, the legislature and the executive arm. We have been able to really cement the relationship so that we are able to work together seamlessly.
International oil and gas organizations commended Nigeria's ability to not just stay afloat despite the devastation of the COVID-19, but also taking investment decisions for critical projects.
That we are determined to build on the progress achieved thus far and do what we can to continue to contribute to stability in the oil market on a sustainable basis.
Participants are unanimous that the Nigeria International Petroleum Summit, being the first physical summit in the oil and gas industry since the COVID-19 pandemic, is indicative that the world is gradually reopening as vaccinations continue to mitigate COVID-19. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Let's now go to security matters as President Muhammadu Buhari has formally granted audience to the Acting Chief of Army Staff, Major General Farouk Yahya, urging the military to spare no efforts at dismantling obstacles to national security and stability. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
This is the first time President Muhammadu Buhari is meeting the Acting Chief of Army Staff, Major General Farouk Yahya, since his appointment 11 days ago. He was led to the State House by the Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo. Their discussions held behind closed doors centered on the state of the nation's security and the way forward. Efforts by NTA News to hear from the new Army Chief after the meeting proved abortive, but the Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, gives an insight into what transpired at the meeting.
The new Chief of Army Staff thanks Mr. President for giving him the opportunity to serve as the Chief of Army Staff and promised that he will bring all his experience to bear in collaboration with his colleagues, the Chief of Air Staff and Chief of Naval Staff, to be able to do this country proud.
During the meeting, the minister said President Muhammadu Buhari restated his marching orders to the armed forces to do whatever it takes towards the restoration of normalcy in the security situation for sustainable peace and prosperity.
The president, being an actor, one time or the other, has given us a direction in which we can learn from his experiences and apply them to our mode of operations. And I think we have taken the advice seriously. And the issue of synergy among the security forces was also stressed, and we assure him that we will do our best to bring an end to the problem of security in this country.
President Muhammadu Buhari has since forwarded a request to the National Assembly for the confirmation of Major General Farouk Yahaya as the substantive Chief of Army Staff to succeed the late Army Chief, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The incessant destruction of the nation's infrastructure willfully has assumed a worrisome dimension as no sector is spared of this act that has continued to endanger the lives of innocent citizens. This forms the basis for a special town hall meeting by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture to draw greater attention to the trend. Anthony Folson reports.
The setting has a traditional ambience of government interfacing with its citizens. However, the subject matter is crucial. Convener of the Town Hall meeting series, Lai Mohammed, set the stage.
In recent times, efforts of the government have been thwarted by some unpatriotic citizens through wanton destruction of critical infrastructure, thereby depriving the greater citizenry for whose benefits these projects and services are provided from enjoying them. Railway tracks have been subjected to wanton destruction. Bridge railings are being removed. Manhole covers are being pilfered. Street lights and other power infrastructure, oil pipeline, telecoms facilities, and critical aviation infrastructure have been damaged or stolen.
Revealing how bad the situation is, Minister of Aviation, Transportation, Works, and the Federal Capital Territory were critical about the state of this condemnable act that has continued to put the lives of citizens at risk.
One cantankerous individual decided to just go and demolish our fence and allow the airport to be so bare. And of course, we decided to show him how not to willfully damage public infrastructure. Because of wind shear, which is the sudden change of direction and speed of air, we had a Sosoluso crash. Everybody knew what happened. Those equipment that are to tell us that there's wind shear on this runway and we should avoid it for the next 10 minutes are being vandalized. So it's another Sosoluso waiting to happen if they continue. This critical infrastructure, they are not seen. They are not airport tenement buildings with toilets, with air conditioner, because that's a complaint. With lifts, they are very important. Lift is important, toilet is important, air conditioner is important, your queue is important where you go, but what is more important is to keep you safe.
In Lagos District, the narrow gauge, we have just one case. In the whole of Western District, we have just one case. But now listen, the whole of Northwest, 31. And you know what, we're not, you know Northwest, right? You want me to call them so that you can shame them. The whole of Northern District, 10. The whole of Northeastern District, that's where we have the worst case. No, not there. North Central is the worst case. Northeastern District, you have 43. North Central District, where you have Jos and all those people, you have 50. Eastern District, you have 36. Abuja to Kaduna, 13. That's worse. What they do in Abuja to Kaduna is they're not cutting off the track. They're stealing, what they call that pin. There's a pin used to hold this thing down. So we have changed up to 10,000 of those things. You have to make sure every day before the train runs, we have to walk all that track to make sure that the track is safe.
The truth is that no nation grows beyond the capacity of its infrastructure. So every little one that we have, we must optimize it.
We are taking off over 25,000 covers of one form or the other. And these are critical public assets that you and I own that are being vandalized. This is just one aspect. Many of the streets, when you notice blackouts sometimes, you might think it is public outage. It is not. The blackouts occur because somebody decided to dig out the cables. So there is something uniquely Nigerian which we don't see in other parts of the country.
The ministers in their submissions advanced the need for strict laws that will deter or punish offenders. And in a quick response, representative of the Senate President assured that the National Assembly will not hesitate in passing any such bill brought before it into law.
The relevant ministries should quickly propose the law they want, whether it is amendment, fresh law, whatever. And I can assure you that the National Assembly will process it speedily.
Nigeria has constantly spent billions of naira in fixing or replacing such destructions. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Now, the National Broadcasting Commission has directed all broadcasting stations in Nigeria to suspend the patronage of Twitter immediately. They install Twitter handles and desist from using Twitter as a source of information gathering for news and programs presentation, especially phone-in. This follows the suspension of Twitter operations in Nigeria by the federal government over the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining the corporate existence of the country. In a statement, the acting Director General of the embassy, Professor Armstrong Dachaba, said the Commission is issuing the directive because the Section 2, Subsection 1 of the Embassy Act entrusts the Commission with responsibility to ensure strict adherence to national laws, rules and regulations, while another section of the Code provides that a broadcaster shall ensure that law enforcement is upheld at all times in a matter depicting that law and order are socially superior to or more desirable than crime and anarchy. The statement therefore appealed for strict compliance to the directive and noted that it will be unpatriotic for any broadcaster in Nigeria to continue to patronize this suspended Twitter as a source of its information. Foreign state actors in Nigeria rallying ground. All right. Of course, let's tell you that the Minister of Foreign Affairs has actually met with diplomats over the same issue of Twitter suspension by the federal government of Nigeria. Abubakar Usman Akwanga will tell us more.
The efforts by Nigeria to enhance security and protect its citizens led to the recent ban on Twitter operations, which the government feels has taken side with proscribed groups and secessionists, a development that has led to different reactions, including some countries from Europe and America. This led to a meeting between Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister and members of diplomatic corps.
We are Nigeria's strong partners on issues of security, and we recognize the daunting times and the array of security challenges that confront Nigeria. While they are daunting, they are not insurmountable, and part of the way that you surmount them is through the partnership of the people that you see represented here.
Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema says the suspension of Twitter was part of emergency measures to protect the country from imminent crisis capable of undermining our sovereignty.
I think the partnership, our solidarity with the 5 countries was reaffirmed. They have supported us very strongly in our security challenges, humanitarian crises, development challenges, economic challenges.
Nigeria, has the most populous country on the African continent, is receiving maximum support and cooperation from the international community to champion a credible process that will entrench stability and guarantee national unity and development of the country. In Abuja, I am Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
And joining us now via Zoom is Daniel Bwala, a notary public barrister, Lincoln's Inn. Good evening to you.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
All right. What's your take on the decision of the federal government to temporarily suspend Twitter operations in Nigeria, citing security as the main reason for the action?
Yes, I support the decision of the federal government to temporarily suspend Twitter pending compliance by Twitter, just like other countries of the world. We have precedents. In 2011, when the London riot started here, David Cameron, the Prime Minister of England, threatened to shut down Twitter if Twitter did not take out posts and accounts of individuals that were foiling the crisis. In America, it happened. In France, it happened. In Germany, it happened. In Israel, it happened. In fact, we have one of our African countries that shut down social media platform, conducted election before they brought them back and kept Twitter by the side. The erroneous feeling that the suspension of Twitter amounts to violation of the rights of the citizens of Nigeria, I think is misconstrued. Because if you can access Twitter, there are other social media platforms that you can access. And the federal government has not banned Twitter forever. Twitter has to comply with the takedown request by the federal government, because the recent killings of police people, burning of police station and killing of private citizens has been linked to certain tweets by individuals who use the social media platform to incite violence. So the decision of the federal government is supported.
In that line, so what do you think is the rationale, behind some countries insisting Twitter ban is against free speech?
Twitter ban. Did I hear you say insisting on Twitter ban? Did I hear you say on Twitter ban?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm asking, in the line of what you submitted right now, what do you think is the rationale, behind some countries insisting a Twitter ban is against free speech?
Yes, the rationale behind the decisions of countries to threaten that Twitter must comply with their takedown request to either delete posts or take down the accounts of individuals that were foiling crisis. The rationale behind it is national security. And sometimes it can be convenient for a country that is not presently facing crisis to shout free speech and free speech. But the advanced democracies that are teaching us the way have had their own fair share of the experience. Do you remember the January 6th Capitol insurrection in the United States? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google, and all these other social media platforms were asked to take down what was considered to be false news, fake news, and misleading information. In England, it happened the same time. In France, there was even an order of court obtained against Twitter that Twitter must comply with the laws of France. In Russia, he even threatened he was going to block all the ISPs if Twitter did not comply by taking away obscene pictures, drug abuse, and child molestation videos that people were putting on Twitter. So every country that experiences a problem and feels that their nation is fragile, they will have to look at social media platforms that are promoting that. Not every information in Twitter or posted on Twitter are bad. Twitter is good for commerce, good for engagement, good for development. But identified accounts and identified posts that are inciting violence must be taken down. Federal government asked Twitter to take it down. Twitter refused, hence the suspension. As soon as Twitter starts complying with the request by the federal government, Twitter will come on board.
All right, thank you so far, Daniel. But then before we let you go, what lessons are there to be learned from this situation and for future engagements with similar platforms and national security?
Yes, I think that the lesson learned to be learned in this scenario, number one, is for the Nigerian people to know the limits of free speech as against the national security interest, especially at this time of crisis in Nigeria where we are faced with existential problem. On the other hand, is that all our intelligence platform in this country must wake up, because that is where the problem is. In advanced countries, the intelligence platforms were able to identify individuals that were posting, the posts that they were posting, and their link either with terrorism financing or foreign agents trying to destabilize their country. But in our own case, there is no information on the part of intelligence department. It is just the tweets and then the crime. So that is a lesson that I think we should learn. Our intelligence platform has to wake up. This is a time for us to identify people who are behind all the violence in the country in the hope to destabilize the country.
Well, thank you, Daniel, for speaking to us tonight on the temporary suspension of Twitter in Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take some messages now. The network news continues shortly. Please do stay.
to take on tomorrow. Cause you're volatile like the water, and you promise what you don't know. Sometimes it's right and then it's so wrong. Them go do like say them why, who promise you the world, brother all now wash it. I'm gonna be open eye, I see no be water, like you be letter.
The smartphone network. Here is a very tough guy who knocks out every opponent. But now he's been knocked down by malaria.
Amatem Soft Gel.
Amatem Soft Gel makes treating malaria easy. Amatem Soft Gel is a game changer.
Amatem Soft Gel, a good talk about malaria for body.
Available for adults and children. Say no to malaria. Yes to life.
I am with you at every stage of your life, providing comfort when you are keeping fit, comfort when you are expecting your bundle of joy, comfort during motherhood, comfort in your office, comfort in your car, comfort when sharing a meal, comfort at bedtime. From cradle to grave.
The distinguished Senator Chukwuka Utazi, Senate Committee Chairman, Primary Healthcare and Communicable Diseases, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu, Chairman, House Committee on Health, Dr. Haruna Mishelia, Chairman, House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on COVID-19, and all National Assembly members from Adamawa State to the Town Hall meeting. The meeting is also honored to welcome the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Mr. Boss Mustafa, Dr. Osaki Ehanire, the Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Olorunimbe Mamora, the Honorable Minister of State for Health, their Royal Highnesses, Chairmen, Councils of Chiefs from the Northeast Zone, traditional and religious leaders, as well as other stakeholders in the zone, to an interactive session to discuss COVID-19 vaccination in Nigeria. Date Tuesday, 8 June 2021. Venue, Banquet Hall, Government House, Yola. Time, 9:30 a.m. prompt. Dr. Faisal Shwaib, Executive Director, CEO, NPHCDA, announced.
This looks different. It is. 8K video. Beyond cinema quality. So... you can pull portrait quality photos straight from video.
But will it last the whole trip?
Battery for the whole trip and the way back.
This is different.
Told you.
Now our hands will they use protect each other. Now waiting they make our hand powerful. The power to stop the coronavirus stay our hands. Wash your hands or make you sanitize every time. Make you they always cough or sneeze inside your elbow. No come off for house if you know wear face mask. Leave space, make your hand no stretch reach your neighbor hand. Make you stay for house and no near people if you dey sick.
The much anticipated UEFA Euro 2021 is finally here. Can Portugal defend the title they won 4 years ago as they face world champions France, Europe giants Germany, Spain, Italy and England? Catch all the action via live transmission, in-depth studio analysis, fixtures, results, updates, and lots more on NTA, Africa's largest TV network. For sponsorship and advert placement, contact Bola on 080-37044286 or Idris on 080-34-633-644. This broadcast is proudly brought to you by NTA in partnership with Media Business Solutions, MBS Sports.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Network News. First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has acknowledged the complementary roles the Nigerian governor's wives and to her humanitarian program under the Aisha Buhari Foundation towards the upliftment of health and the general well-being of women, youth and children. This was when she received the forum on a courtesy visit in the State House.
The Nigerian governors' wives under the platforms of the Northern and Southern governors' wives were at the State House as part of their solidarity and commitment in supporting the First Lady of Nigeria in advocacy towards improving lots of women and children, especially at the grassroots. This is part of their quarterly meeting, which deliberated on various issues affecting women, youth and children with a view to chart a way forward for improving their living conditions. While commending them on their achievements so far, especially in the space of tackling the problem of domestic violence, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the First Lady has urged them to continue working in synergy towards advancing the cause of women and children, particularly the girl child. The First Lady has urged them to use their positions as mothers and role models towards promoting national cohesion, peace and unity.
It is important to consolidate our efforts on lasting legacies. So we thank the Almighty God for bringing us together this evening to meet and discuss some progressive activities in our nation.
As mothers, we also need to be mindful of the security issues around us at the moment and do what we can, especially with young people.
And we are so proud to say that this whole thing has been birthed by a wonderful mother who showed us the way in every respect, with her personality, with her forthrightness, with her love for truth, justice and equity, and her care and concern for women and children in the country.
We also want to assure you of our support at all times to all your initiatives, and thank you for your support at all times.
The deliberation centered on efforts put in place by the spouses of the governors towards addressing burning issues such as gender-based violence, drug trafficking, and all forms of social vices. From the State House, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
In the meantime, the federal government has reiterated commitment to rescuing the remaining Chibok school girls in the captivity of Boko Haram insurgents. Minister of Women Affairs, Paul Ntaling, re-echoed the determination of government during the inauguration of the completely remodeled government secondary school Chibok, where 219 girls were abducted. Abubakar Mohammed Musa reports.
Students of the government secondary school were elated by the turnaround in the school and books presented to them.
My prayer is that may God bless them and give them more time to help us, help others, and they should provide for all the things we need, and God bless them.
Minister for Women Affairs, Dame Paul Ntaling, who was pleased with the developmental strides made and return of peace to Chibok community, urged the parents to reciprocate the gesture by allowing their wards, especially the girl child, to at least complete senior secondary school.
The school was destroyed completely. It is therefore heartwarming to witness the official reopening of the school today after it was refurbished to allow for normal activities to resume.
Rehabilitate and reconstruct houses, rehabilitate villages with a view to ensuring quick return of internally displaced persons to their ancestral homes. This is the only solution to ensure lasting peace and sustainability in our own state.
Principal of the school, Asabe Aliu Danglan, thanked the federal and state governments for the remodeling of the school. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Muhammad Musa, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the governing board of the National Senior Citizen Center has been inaugurated by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk. Ruth Aguela reports that this follows the National Senior Citizen Center Act, which was signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari to cater for the needs of the elderly in the country.
Aging, they say, comes with challenges, especially when attention is not given to the socio-economic needs of the aged population. This informed the establishment of the National Senior Citizens Center to take care of the elderly in the society. Now, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has inaugurated a governing board of the center, which will protect the rights and promote welfare of older persons in the country.
It is in this regard that the government made conscious efforts to establish the center to develop and implement productive activities, social protection, and work schemes for senior citizens and ensure a sense of security and a general feeling of health and worthiness extended to them.
I want to heartily thank His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari for the confidence reposed in us. I also thank the Honorable Minister for finding us suitable for this responsibility.
The governing board is expected to facilitate the implementation of the national policy on aging being approved by the federal government. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
Now, the Sultan of Sokoto, Sa'ad Abubakar III, has described the violence as antithetical to growth and development and advised Nigerians to work together against forces threatening the unity of the nation. This was at the commissioning of the Bauchi Muslim Hajj transit camp named after him by Governor Bala Muhammad. Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad reports.
His Eminence Sultan Sa'ad Abubakar III, giving his royal blessings to the newly constructed Bauchi Muslim Pilgrims Transit Camp, situated along the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa International Airport, Bauchi. The edifice has male and female hostels, mosque, cafeteria, multipurpose and screening halls, and the clinic.
There are so many citizens in this country, in Nigeria, and so many people are doing a lot to dismantle this country. And I believe we have a duty to rise up to the occasion, challenge those few elites that think they must control this country.
We decided to initiate this with the State Assembly, and after due consultation with the National Hajj Commission, we came up with this edifice that has, besides all that you have seen, the physical infrastructure.
With the capacity to host 1,000 pilgrims at a go, the edifice will also serve as a transit camp for Christian pilgrims. In Bauchi, Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad, NTA News.
We still have a piece on insecurity following the aftermath of a strategic engagement between the Inspector General of Police and commanders of the force across the country. Now, the Nigerian police has announced a ban on all roadblocks, tinted permit, and spy number plates with immediate effect. The meeting reviewed the security situation, evaluated the strategies, and came up with a roadmap on how to combat crimes.
As a policing model is becoming obsolete and unacceptable. Hence, we are working towards enhancing our intelligence-led and technology-driven policing capacity, as well as strengthening the safer highway modernized patrol scheme as an alternative to roadblocks. In due course, an enforcement mechanism that will enforce the standardized process of issuance of SQR plate numbers and tinted glasses will be implemented.
Let's now join our Lagos studio for more reports. Over to you, Adeola.
Thank you, Kenny. Across countries, the girl child has gone through several transitions. At first, she was relegated to the background culturally and academically. Generally, her evolution revolved around domesticity. Through the ages, however, the shake-up of some traditional stereotypes has seen the girl child blossom into a powerful force in all spheres of human endeavor. The irony of this positivity is that attention on the boy child is minimal, and this deficit tends to manifest as he navigates his way through a tough world. Imoliayo Tokede Ogunfowora takes a look at the challenges limiting the potential of the boy child and how they can be surmounted.
Schools, they were punishing students because of something they did wrong. Then the boys, they flogged them without even pitying them, but the girls, they spared them.
And the female child, they get more attention.
Tomorrow's husbands and fathers there, sharing some of their issues, they have come to realize that the deliberate attention given by society to the girl child invariably places them at a disadvantage. Nkiru Ugwadimma, a mother of 3 boys, argues that children go through same phases irrespective of gender and must therefore cross same hurdles in character molding.
The boy child is also raped. They're not talking about it. We need to begin to speak up to them to talk about these issues. A man bottles up a lot, and because he bottles up a lot, then he will just come out and become a violent person. We don't want that anymore.
The popular public opinion is that minor concern for the boy child, who is assumed as capable due to masculinity, has led to a deterioration in his overall performance.
When you talk about violence and so on and so forth, it is fostered by men. When you talk about societal ills, it is fostered by men. When you talk about things that arrest our development as a nation, as a people, it is fostered by men.
The girl child that you have raised properly may end up marrying the boy child you did not raise. And so you find a lot of disoriented young men who are not balanced in their upbringing, young men who are not balanced in their development. And so what you find is that they do things that you would wonder whether something isn't wrong with them. But a lot of times it's not their fault, it's because somebody didn't do a proper job.
We have to inculcate character development as part of what we're working on with the students. Not only are we focusing on, of course, academic fields and academic sphere.
Said in Lagos, Imoliayo Tokede Ogunfowora, NTA News.
Now, as Lagos State strategizes ahead of possible new wave of COVID-19 pandemic, the House of Assembly is working on amending a bill to enhance the capacity of health workers across the state. This came to the fore at a public hearing to intimate stakeholders with the content of the bill. Musa Toliat has details.
The bill titled "A Law to Repeal and Reenact the Lagos State College of Health Technology and for Connected Purposes" is subjected to public hearing to get the input of stakeholders with a view to having a strong legislative backing for training of health workers in the state. Speaker, Lagos House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, who was represented, stated that the essence of the amendment is to make the bill more functional in line with global best practices, which require sustainable capacity building of health workers.
In the olden days, this technology always provide, as it were, nurses, technologies that can manage or man the primary health facilities across the nation. But nowadays, there is need for us to rejig and to make it more functional for the benefit of all.
The institution already has a flurry of different categories and levels of education that they offer. But the new bill hopes to expand on what they offer.
They actually accommodated almost everything that we have been praying for, but just in a little bit of addition in the area of the staff emoluments and staff welfare.
The Lagos House of Assembly is proposing the amendment of the bill which established the Lagos State College of Health Technology in 1920. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
You're still watching the Network News. We'll take another break and we'll be back to Kene in Abuja.
The management and staff of the Nigerian Television Authority, Akure, cordially invites the general public to the first edition of the NTA Akure Forum Lecture. The lecture titled Good Governance in the Face of Corruption and Insecurity, the Imperative of Youth Involvement, which will be delivered by Honorable Olubumi Tunjiojo, member representing Akoko Northeast and Akoko Northwest Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives under the chairmanship of Dr. Bode Ayorinde, founder at Chivas University, Owo, and Engineer Ife Oyedele, Executive Director, Engineering and Technical Services, Niger Delta Power Holding Company of Nigeria. His Imperial Majesty, Oba Frederick Obateru Akinruto, the Olubo of Ubo Kingdom, and Chairman of Ondo State Council of Obas and Chiefs, will be the Royal Father of the Day. Special guest of honor is the Ondo State Governor, Arakunrin Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, SAN. Date is Wednesday, 9th June 2021. Time, 10 a.m. Venue, International Culture and Event Center, The Dome, Akure. Please note that all COVID-19 protocols will be strictly adhered to.
I dey look for pension fund administrator. We soft, make sense, we care for me. Shy. No be the type when story go enter the matter when it's time to deliver. Oh no, 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 no. The brand is sure them no go stress you. Call them then they accessible. Yes, customer care where they on point. You no go regret when you try, of course. Profitable investment. Everything is just a blend. If you know what's good for you, my guy, make you choose premium pension today. Make that switch to premium pension. Premium pension. Make that switch to premium pension.
Join over 700,000 satisfied members and enjoy the premium experience at our offices across the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT. Call 094615-700-704 to make the switch today. Premium pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
What's the difference between regular data and MTN data? I'll show you. With regular data, you get this. But with MTN data, you get moved right into the action like this. And this. And this. And this. With MTN data, you don't just get more, you experience more. Need loads of data to live your dream? Turn it up on MTN, the reliable data network.
One passenger. Big auntie. Come and enter my bus now.
Hey, conductor, this cough is serious. I beg, you need to go to the hospital.
Hospital? Auntie, if I go hospital now with this cough, those people will just say I have COVID-19.
No, they won't. Doctors say cough symptoms are different in every condition. Some are dry, others are wet, like your own.
God bless you, auntie. I have told this my conductor. The cough has refused to go, and it could be tuberculosis.
Conductor, check am o. Make you dey sure, because who no go, no go, no.
Check that cough for tuberculosis.
Check am o, make you dey sure.
If your cough is more than 2 weeks, it could be tuberculosis. TB tests and TB treatment are free. Just call the National TB Hotline on 3340 for information on where to get the test. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Health with support from the American people.
Please keep an eye on Jenny. Oh, that's all right.
Uncle Paul, look! I want to be a pilot when I grow up.
That's good. I've always wanted to be friends with a pilot.
Uncle Paul, what's your job?
I help people understand things.
Like a teacher?
Almost. I help explain to mummies and daddies what they can do with their money. I help people build stuff. And I'm always there when they are happy and when they are sad. I help people grow all kinds of things.
You're a farmer!
Not quite. I help people keep and grow their money so later they come back when it's bigger for themselves.
You're a magician!
Just like a pilot, I help people move from where they are to where they want to be. alert.
ARM. Invested in your tomorrow.
You clean your teeth every morning, but that fresh breath feeling just doesn't last. The answer? Easy. You keep your teeth strong and healthy and give your mouth long-lasting fresh breath with new Oral-B 2-in-1 toothpaste. It helps strengthen your teeth and gives you long-lasting fresh breath.
So fresh, still fresh, and still fresh.
Stay strong, stay fresh. New Oral-B toothpaste for strong teeth and long-lasting fresh breath.
10. Fun is 10. Smart is 10. Elegance is 10. Fast is 10. My experience is 10. Redmi Note 10 Pro. Challenge the boundaries. Get the Redmi Note 10 Pro. Built with a 108 megapixel camera, 120 Hz AMOLED display, and Qualcomm Snapdragon 732G, as well as 33 watts fast charge. Redmi Note 10 Pro. Powered by Xiaomi.
You're watching NTA Network News. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Dr. Rukayatu Abdul Karim Gureen as Senior Special Assistant to the President on Administration and Women Affairs in the Office of the First Lady. Dr. Gureen, who was a senior lecturer at Bayes University in Abuja before her appointment, replaces Dr. Hajj Sani, who was recently appointed as Nigeria's delegate to the United Nations Educational and Scientific Organization UNESCO in France. The President also approved the appointment of Dr. Mohammed Kamal Abdurrahman as Senior Special Assistant to the President on Health and Development Partners in the Office of the First Lady. Dr. Abdurrahman will combine his new role with his position as the personal physician to the First Lady. Office of the Auditor General for the Federation launches forensic laboratory as Nigerian Exchange Group closed Monday's trading on a negative note. Musa Abubakar has details on business news.
Thank you, Kenneth. The Office of the Auditor General for the Federation has opened a forensic laboratory and successfully trained first batch of forensic auditors and examiners for ministries, departments, and agencies. The digital lab, which is the first of its kind, leverages technology for automation and evidence-based data management for proper accountability. It also gives real-time access to files across MDAs for the purpose of audit, with 21 forensic auditors already trained. Auditor General for the Federation, Gugu Adolphus, says the auditors will resume in ministries, departments, and agencies next week.
That we even stand prosecution, court prosecution. You look in the direction of forensic auditing. It is not only just audit evidence for the National Assembly, it is equally evidence that could be gathered and tabled for prosecution of culprits.
The project has so far gulfed 74 million naira since it began in 2017, and the Auditor General is optimistic it will transform the nation's audit system in line with global best practices and the changing times. Now, the capital market equities market closed negative to open the week on a red. The all-share index shed 0.10% to close 38,686.4 points, and equity capitalization at 20.2 trillion naira. 210.8 million shares valued at 1.5 billion naira were traded in 3,958 deals. FBN Holdings, WAPIC, and Chams PLC are the most traded shares with a combined value of more than 133 million naira at the end of the day's transaction. Well, that's business. The news continues after the break.
On Tuesday Live this week, our focus is on reviving grazing and forest reserve to enhance food security and sustainable economy. Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Don't miss it.
ones will rush home for tasty meals prepared with Sonia tomato mix.
Yummy times 2.
It's so good eating together with the family. Thanks to Sonia. Sonia tomato mix brings you together.
Ankara shopping with the right place for.
That one no fine.
No, nice.
No, it's too dull.
This one.
Oh wow, it's beautiful. Omo, this fabric. It gon' fade though.
Yeah. Look, make I tell you something. The new area Ankara, it go take good care of it. No right. Not lie. Not true.
And the price?
Cheap.
Try new Ariel on your Ankara and colors now.
We're starting the happiness movement with Molfix.
For baby's happiness, it is important to choose a dry diaper because with a dry diaper, babies do not have rash and are comfortable.
Nigeria's #1 choice of mothers, Molfix Air Dry, has the dryness all the mothers dream of because it's ultra absorbent and ultra breathable, so it stays dry and does not leak. Our babies do not have rash. Come on, mothers, try Molfix and join our happiness movement.
Trust the Center-Fresh liquid field gum to refresh your confidence instantly. Center-Fresh liquid field gum. Trust the freshness.
The internet at home disconnects me, but that's a thing of the past. Today, I found the great solution. With Connect, I can get internet from space. It's super fast satellite internet from Connect. It's great. I can get internet everywhere. It's super simple and super fast. It's Connect. Broadband up to 100 megabits per second. All this from 6,900 naira per month. Isn't it great? Go to connect.com.
In my house, we may look alike, but we are very different individuals. Everybody believes their way is best. That's why Golden Penny Pasta is our favorite meal.
Golden Penny Pasta, made with durum wheat, is tasty, nutritious, a source of protein and fiber, and non-sticky. So you can cook, serve, and eat your pasta just the way you like it. With Golden Penny Pasta, your way is best.
A peak protein breakfast gets me to a great day. How do I know? Because my daddy goes through his work feeling good and always with a smile. Mommy is always filled with confidence. My sister is always in tune. And for me, learning new things becomes absolute fun. Because all day and every day, the peak goes on.
Start your day with a peak protein breakfast. Peak. Reach for your peak.
Not all washing powders are the same. Sunlight adds bursts of freshness to cleaning power to give you Sunlight 2-in-1 for sensational cleaning and freshness that lasts. Sunlight 2-in-1 sensational cleaning with burst after burst of freshness. Introducing Sunlight with luxurious oud fragrance.
'Cause I'm the new best thing. I'm the new best thing. Better than you've ever seen.
Discover new Guinness Smooth. Perfectly balanced for a smooth, refreshing taste.
I'm the new best thing.
There's a free header! Goal! And it's in the back of the net from Robert Lewandowski.
We already raised the lion, remember? Besides.
Look Looking for the ultimate football experience? Front row seats to feel every emotion, to be part of the conversation, and to live every banter. Looking for Ronaldo, Hazard, Sterling for massive skills and out-of-this-world moments. Looking for crystal clear picture quality, expert analysis, and the full experience of the Euro 2020. Come and get it. Watch the UEFA Euro 2020 live on SuperSport from 11 June to 11 July on GoTV. Love it. This broadcast is proudly brought to you by BetKing, Playground for Kings.
Up next is Sports Update with Tamara Ebiwe.
Thank you, Kenneth. We'll begin with football, where Super Eagles of Nigeria will have another chance to redeem their name against the indomitable Lions of Cameroon as both countries engage in another international friendly in Austria ahead of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations scheduled for Cameroon. The first leg, played last Friday, ended 0-1 in favor of the indomitable Lions. Moving on to board game now, match day 2 and 3 of the Mind Game Scrabble Premier League for 2020-2021 ended in Abuja with 130 players from across the country. Team Blazers won match day 3, winning 9 out of 11 games. Brainiacs dominated day 2 with 11 wins out of 12 games. The league finals is built for Lagos in September 2021. And finally to tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic survived the shock fourth-round exit at the French Open. He came back from 2 sets down to defeat teenager Lorenzo Musetti 6-7, 6-7, 6-1, 6-love, 4-love when the 19-year-old retired with an injury. And that's the much we can take on sports. Kenneth, back to you.
Thank you very much, Tamara. And of course, that's where we wrap it up on Network News tonight. Don't forget to be a star with NTA as we wage war against rape and rapists. My name is Kenan Ima Abodikim. Good night.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
This is the network service of the NTA.
My name is Nancy Oyedia Orom. I'm AIT correspondent. I've been covering the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 the last 1 year. I just took the jab, the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, and it was seamless. And I was opportune to take these vaccines with the SGF, the ministers. So I want to use this medium as a journalist for someone who has experienced COVID in the last 1 year. I want to implore media houses, broadcast industries. Let's join hands together to propagate the good information out there for people to believe in these vaccines. That's the only way we can have health immunity and also achieve the projection and target of Nigeria come 2022. Well, I must implore all Nigerians to go out there, register on the Primary Healthcare Development Agency website. These vaccines are free for all Nigerians. Go to the website, register. It is free for you and I.
The Chairman, Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service, on behalf of members of the committee, cordially invites the general public and stakeholders to send memoranda and attend public hearing on a bill for an act to establish Veteran Welfare Fund, date Wednesday, 9th June 2021. So, His Excellency Senator Ibrahim Shekarau, Saudaun Kano, COMPEN, Chairman, Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service.
The much anticipated UEFA Euro 2021 is finally here. Can Portugal defend the title they won 4 years ago as they face world champions France, Europe giants Germany, Spain, Italy and England?
Catch all the action via live transmission, in-depth studio analysis, fixtures, results, updates, and lots more on NTA, Africa's largest TV network. For sponsorship and advert placement, contact Bola on 080-37-044-286 or Idris on 080-34-633-644. This broadcast is proudly brought to you by NTA in partnership with Media Business Solutions, MBS Sports.
The counsel of our fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Times take change, so must we. That the new time requires new response to new challenges.
Magaji, your regular host of the program. The second phase of the COVID-19 vaccination is underway. Cooperate and support the federal government to ensure the success of the exercise as Nigeria joins the rest of the world in waging a relentless war against the deadly disease. COVID-19 kills. Respect the protocols to stay safe. Now to the program. Acquainting pilgrims with knowledge about civic duties and what is expected of them in the course of the Hajj is another form of enlightenment being carried out by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, and its stakeholders. Our spotlight segment will focus on these civic duties and how NACON goes about the enlightenment campaign. Stay with us for the details. Also in the program, we have our regular segments such as the NACON News Diary, which features the activities of NACON chairman, key functionaries of the...
Every Muslim is a potential pilgrim. To make the Hajj possible for the Ummah, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria Hajj over a period of time. Registration into the Hajj savings scheme is ongoing for all Muslims. Muslims wishing to perform Hajj can be enrolled into the scheme through the following outlets: NACON offices across the country, state pilgrims welfare boards, agencies and commissions, any branch of Jaiz Bank in the country. Enrollment can also be done directly by logging into dedicated sites for the scheme. Let's participate and support the Hajj savings scheme for better Hajj services.
Thanks for being there. We begin the program with a news diary as presented from our studio. Preparatory to the takeoff of the Hajj Training Institute, the committee constituted by NACON to ensure the smooth commencement of academic activities at the institute has inspected facilities to be used in the classes as well as offices when it becomes fully functional. Coordinator of the institute at NACON, Dr. Aliyu Tanku, led other members of the committee for the inspection of the facilities at Hajj House Annex site.
Yes, this is going to be the admin where we will have. There are among part of the facilities.
Speaking after the inspection tour, Dr. Ali Utonko says the preparation is in line with the guidelines provided by the National Board for Technical Education, NBTE.
The last leg of the whole exercise is what they will come and do, what they call resource inspection. Now they are coming as the final visit before issuing the approval for the take-up of the institute to verify the facilities, whether the facilities meet up with their requirements, the staffing, whether we have adequate staff to take care of the courses identified, the 4 courses identified. And this staffing includes the rector, the registrar, the bursar, the academic officer, and then staff for the 4 courses identified to be run, inshallah, by the institute.
The coordinator of the Hajj Training Institute further stated that the school is expected to come on stream by the end of the year, saying work will soon commence on the renovation of the classes and offices, including the provision of a clinic, which is another requirement of the NBTE. Dr. Bala Muhammad is a NACON board member. He talks about the marketing strategies of the institute.
I come from an academic background and I know that there is competition. We may think that the Hajj Institute, of course, has a captive, quote-unquote, captive market in the sense that there are 37 Pilgrim welfare boards in the country, and they will be willing to send students here. So that is a captive market for us, which we say alhamdulillah. But you can't have a market which you are not sure when they are paying, or you are not sure because they will come and laugh with you and hit your back as friends, and so they will send people to you who may not pay you up front, etc., because of the camaraderie between you, etc., etc. What is the marketing strategy to attract other students? Because an institute like this is defined by other students, not our Pilgrim people who are already in the business.
The committee also discussed other issues relevant to the launching of the Hajj Training Institute. In the meantime, the director of the FCT Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board, Muhammad Nasrul Malam, has joined other intending pilgrims registered with the board to take the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccination. Others include the renowned Islamic scholar Sheikh Nuru Khalid. This was on Monday, the 31st of May 2021 at the board premises.
Exact number of doses that they have given for the intended pilgrim.
In an interview in his office, the director of the board gives an insight about the exercise.
Now we started administering the second jab, which would now complete the dosage for the COVID-19 for all our intending pilgrims, about 2,700 of them, and the exercise is going to last till 9th of June. We have, as usual, dedicated 7 days, for the regular immunization. And then naturally there's going to be some missed cases. So we have now dedicated 2 more days for the mop-up. So in total we are going to have 9 days. We have started on 31st and we are going to complete it on the 9th of June, inshallah.
Nasrul Malam says the vaccines are available for all the pilgrims, pointing out that the Enlightenment campaign at the FCT will stress on COVID-19 protocols.
For every pilgrim that has taken the first jab, the second jab is already there for them. The exact number of doses that they have given for the intended pilgrim for the first jab, they have also reserved it for the second jab. And in the next 2 weeks, inshallah, we are going to do a training that will emphasize on the COVID-19 treatment, regular washing of hands, use of hand sanitizers, using the face mask, and the social distancing. That is going to be emphasized in a special training in the next 2 weeks for all intended pilgrims from FCT, inshallah.
The director then called on intending pilgrims to cooperate with the board for the success of the Hajj exercise generally. Alhamdulillah, if you're just tuning in, the program is, as you answer the call, a public enlightenment on the activities of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, to educate pilgrims on the do's and don'ts associated with international trips. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, ensures that a civic education unit is created and is domiciled in its Pilgrims Education and Orientation Division of the Commission. The unit is saddled with the responsibility of putting measures in place so that pilgrims are well informed about what to do and what not to do during the Hajj exercise. Stay tuned for the details of these measures in our next segment, Spotlight. Don't go away.
لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك.
When you come to Mecca,
the attention being paid to pilgrims' enlightenment by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, state pilgrims' welfare boards, and indeed all critical stakeholders of commissions underscores the importance attached to the exercise. The enlightenment programs are designed to cater for the spiritual aspect of the Hajj as well as civic duties imposed on pilgrims while performing the Hajj.
These are the major things that we use to educate.
Imam Zikrullah Ibrahim works in the Division of Pilgrims Education and Orientation at NACON. He talks about the need for intending pilgrims to undergo civic orientation.
The civic aspect is one of vital aspects of the orientation, which we need to educate our intended pilgrims, because they are coming from different backgrounds, and majority of our intended pilgrims are coming from rural area. They are not used to modern facilities. So because of that, we have to train them in civic way.
The awareness program begins with the enlightenment of intending pilgrims on how to make payment for the journey to the Holy Land.
The civic orientation starts from the payment of Hajj fare. So the intended pilgrims are advised not to pay their Hajj fare into unauthorized personnel. Rather, they're supposed to pay it to the authorized personnel. The 36 State Pilgrim Welfare Board, including FCT and including Armed Forces Pilgrim Welfare Board, one. The second one are authorized licensed tour operators.
Further on this, the civic orientation touches, among others, on the following areas: luggage handling, pilgrims' education on prohibited items, awareness creation on how to handle travel documents, how pilgrims should move about during the Hajj, as well as being security conscious, visa overstay, and absconding. Others are how to make good use of facilities in apartments and mashair, and medical and physical requirements.
This medical checkup is very, very important. The intended pilgrim should not look him or herself that he is too fit. He doesn't need checkup. You need to go for medical checkup. When you go for medical checkup and the medical personnel now advise you on what to do, then you continue. Whether they ask you to jog every day or just to take walk every day to improve your health, because the type of the work that you are going to do in the Holy Land is not a small work. Then coming to the vaccine, there are some pre-Hajj vaccine that which is recommended by medical personnel, like meningitis vaccine, yellow fever vaccine, And because of the global pandemic now, the intending pilgrims is advised to take COVID-19 vaccine, to take the first and the second jab before embark in this journey.
Working through its plans, NARCON and its stakeholders always remind pilgrims not to carry any prohibited items on board during airlift. These items are gaseous materials, inflammable items, sharp objects, insecticides, lighter or matchbox.
Likewise, we have to advise our intended pilgrims that they should desist from helping another person in carrying their luggage or their baggage, because you don't know what that person put in his luggage. So please help me carry this. They should desist in that. Don't help anybody carry baggage. Don't help anybody carry, even if it is water, because you don't know what is inside that water, what is contained. So we educate our intended pilgrims on that also. Then coming to the authorized baggage, we have two luggage, big one and small one. The big one is only 32 kilograms is approved. When the small one that we call it hand luggage is only 8 kilograms is approved. So all equal to 40 kilograms. So this is what is approved right now.
Similarly, pilgrims are enlightened on how to make good use of their accommodation as well as enjoy the facilities made available for them.
The pilgrim has to identify the room number that was given to him. Know your room number. Know your room level, floor. Maybe it is floor 8 or floor 9. Know it. Then try and know one of your roommates' name and the telephone number. Then in going to the room, your accommodation, you are using elevator or you are using lift. So if you do not know how to operate it, please seek for the assistance of others. I'm going to level so and so. Please assist me. They will assist you. We used to educate them that you are going to the place now that you are using card to open your door. But the major thing is that if you don't know how to use, please seek for the assistance, either from your roommate or you go down to the reception. They are always ready to assist you.
Also, through the civic education, pilgrims are warned to avoid falling victims of fraudsters when making monetary transactions, which involves the exchange of the US dollar to Saudi Riyal. In all, members of the various ad hoc committees set up by NARCON are also serving as civic educators to pilgrims. Such committees include that of National Reception Team, Accommodation and Feeding Committees, National Medical Team, National Ulama Team, and Security Committee. It is obvious over the years that the impact of the civic and other forms of pilgrims' awareness campaigns have always been the major driving force in making Nigerian pilgrims good ambassadors while performing the Hajj.
MashaAllah, you're still watching as you answer the call. Coming up next is Making the Hajj.
With this, Muslims, particularly intending pilgrims, are advised to continue observing COVID-19 protocols during preparations for the 2021 Hajj. What are these protocols and the position of Islam on pandemics, and how pilgrims should conduct themselves in such situations.
As Muslims, we are told how to protect ourselves.
On making the Hajj tonight, Malama Khadija Hawaja Gambo answers these and other questions.
So to us as Muslims, COVID-19, even though a strange name, is not new to us. The Prophet ﷺ during his lifetime has taught the Muslims on how to take care of themselves, of diseases that are in existence in the world. Some we know them by name, some we don't know them by name. But the most important thing is that as Muslims, we are told how to protect ourselves. We are told how to take care of ourselves in case we are afflicted or affected by any disease.
Observing the laid down protocols to check the spread of COVID-19 is in line with the teaching of Islam.
Social distance or washing of hands or all of the protocols that people are asked to observe during this COVID-19 are not strange to Muslims. It is only strange to somebody who does not read, who is not familiar with the Quran or not familiar with the Sunnah. Let's take, for example, the issue of asking us as a measure of protecting ourselves from contacting the deadly virus, which is to wash our hands regularly with soap, with water, and other things that we may use to wash our hands. For Muslims, I think it is just a confirmation of what we are taught, because as a Muslim, when we move from the washing of hands and then we move to distancing or even the lockdown, some people find it a little bit strange, and there are a lot of theories going on as to the intention of locking people down. And we say to them that it simply corroborates what the Prophet ﷺ asked Muslims, that when there is an affliction somewhere, when there is a disease, an outbreak of a disease in a particular place, Muslims are asked not to travel to that place. Or when you are in a place and then there is an outbreak of a disease, then you must not leave that place to enter. I mean, these are ways of precautions so that those who are already affected cannot go out and affect others, or that people who are not affected cannot go to where they can be affected.
Similarly, observing the preventive measures is to protect life, which Islam stands for.
You do not have to show brevity by saying, okay, yes, not to do that.
Every Muslim is a potential pilgrim. To make the Hajj possible for the Ummah, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, is running a Hajj savings scheme through Jaiz Bank. The scheme allows depositors to gradually save for the Hajj over a period of time. Registration into the Hajj savings scheme is ongoing for all Muslims. Muslims wishing to perform Hajj can be enrolled into the scheme through the following outlets: NACON offices across the country, state pilgrims welfare boards, agencies and commissions, any branch of Jaiz Bank in the country. Enrollment can also be done directly by logging into dedicated sites for this.
Alhamdulillah, up next is the quiz. Welcome to the quiz segment. The question in the last episode was, the conclusion of Ramadan ushers in the Hajj period. What is the period called? The correct answer is Miqat Zaman. The winner is Adeshola Lukman from Ede, Osun State. He provided the answer ahead of others. Adeshola Lukman will be contacted on how NACON will reach him with the prize he won. A quiz winner will get 25,000 Naira cash prize. This is part of NACON's effort in social investment in Nigeria. Now to the quiz for this week. And the question is, apart from Miqat Zaman, name the other type of Miqat. I repeat, apart from Miqat Zaman, name the other type of Miqat. Of sender. Good luck and happy viewing. Once again, good luck to you. Before we round off the program, we take some messages from our viewers. Is a welcome development. It will definitely help Muslims to realize their dreams of performing the Hajj. May Allah reward you all. Muhammad, a program, as you answer the call, educates us a lot. Thank you. You too can send a message through our mobile number and other social media platforms. Remember, you can stop the spread of coronavirus by complying with all preventive measures. Let's support you. Answer the call. Join me same time next week for another package. Thanks for watching and goodbye.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of the program Service to Humanity, a program that brings you up to date with the activities of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. I am your anchor, Habiba Zakzak. Sit back for a wonderful moment. In our lineup, we have details of the handover of utensils and aprons to benefiting schools in the FCT under the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. We also have a story of a 2-day sensitization workshop on effective media reporting of the humanitarian sector organized for the ministry's press team and correspondents. Details of this and more in our program tonight. Please stay tuned.
Across the 6 geopolitical zones,
They should use this money for what it is meant for, previously to take care of their family.
in 36 states and the FCT. Over 6.4 million of Nigerians poorest of the poor in about 1.3 million households receive conditional cash transfers of 5,000 naira monthly under the Household Upliftment Program of the federal government. Their joy knows no bound.
And the government is very well because they did well for us.
Help me to do any other thing, my family.
Reducing absolute poverty, promoting shared prosperity through the Conditional Cash Transfer Initiative. The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development in service to humanity.
The program is Service to Humanity. Last week saw some major changes being announced by the presidency affecting the Director Generals of some of the agencies under the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. In line with this, the Federal Commissioner of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and IDPs, Senator Bashir Mohamed Lado, was appointed Director General of the National Agency for Trafficking in Persons. He replaces the former DG, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, who now takes his place as the new Federal Commissioner for the Refugee Commission. The statement announcing the changes directed that changes should be effected after comprehensive handover notes to successors. In another development, retired Air Vice Marshal Muhammad Muhammad, former DG of the National Emergency Management Agency, was appointed chairman of the 12-man board of the Senior Citizens Center. A new DG for NEMA has been appointed. He is Ahmed Mustafa Habib. For more news of the recent happenings in the ministry, Management Diary is up next. Please stay tuned.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajj Sadia Umar Farouk, recently commissioned and handed over the Nigeria COVID-19 Action Recovery and Economic Stimulus (NCARES) project. Over 40 operational vehicles were handed over to the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Prince Clem Agba, at the Eagle Square, Abuja. While presenting the vehicles, the minister, on behalf of President Muhammadu Buhari and Nigerians, appreciated the World Bank for coming to the aid of the poor and vulnerable Nigerians and businesses affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The minister also commended the efforts of the Steering Committee for NCARES and the Federal CARES Technical Committee for their efforts in ensuring the intervention from World Bank gets to the people at the grassroots levels. Each state received a sum of $20 million over a period of 2 years, while the FCT and the Federal Care Support will get $15 million each, with effect from June 30th, 2021, from the $750 million grant from the World Bank. All states and the FCT are participating in the 2-year emergency program. The minister stated that the vehicles will go a long way in assisting state coordinators of the program in carrying out the task of alleviating the suffering of the ordinary people in the country. She urged the states and the FCT to ensure adequate utilization of the vehicles and grants from the World Bank. NCARES is an initiative of the federal government with support from World Bank to help reduce the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajj Sadia Umar Farouk, has called for continuous collaboration between government institutions, civil society groups and private sector bodies in developing the education sector. She stated this during the official launch of the Children Accident Prevention Initiative, CAPI, organized by the Ministry of Education on the 27th of May, being Children's Day. The initiative, with the theme Go to School, Be Seen, Be Safe, is aimed at lowering the risk of children falling victims of road accidents to and from schools, and will see about 40 million school children across the country equipped with reflective jackets. Sadia Umar Farouk said her ministry will play an active role to ensure the success, sustenance and expansion of the initiative. She urged all stakeholders to contribute in building a vibrant and better society for all. In his speech, the organizer of the event and the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, was represented by the Minister of State, Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, stated that the Safe School initiative is targeted at protecting children of the vulnerable in the country. It will also address obvious challenges involving school children being involved in road accidents.
Welcome back from that break. Following the lockdown in 2020, the National Homegrown School Feeding Program was temporarily suspended. But with the return to normalcy, especially in schools, the program has resumed in earnest. In our next segment, we take a report of the handover of utensils to benefiting schools in the FCT, performed by the Minister, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk. Let's take the story.
We welcome you, Ma. You are welcome. Thank you for the food. Thank you for everything. We love the food. We love everything. Thank you for giving us food. Thank you. Give us more food. God will bless you in Jesus' name.
That was the voice of the Nigerian child, welcoming the Honorable Minister to the special occasion to flag off the presentation of utensils and aprons for the Homegrown School Feeding Program to participating schools in the Federal Capital Territory. The event held at LGEA Primary School, Jabi. Speaking before the ceremonial flag-off, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, explained the purpose of the intervention, saying that it is to ensure that pupils have the best experience of integrity and safety during their consumption of the free meals provided by the federal government. The minister explained what the ministry has achieved through the National Homegrown School Feeding Program.
The school feeding program seeks to increase enrollment of children into schools, boost their nutrition, and encourage entrepreneurship, enhance agricultural production, and generate millions of rural jobs in the country. In line with this, I'm happy to report that we have so far recorded feeding nearly 10 million people across the country, and have also engaged over 100,000 cooks. Also, massive employment opportunities are being created within the school feeding ecosystem in sectors of transportation, agriculture, energy supply, and food materials packaging. This program is designed to reduce poverty in all its forms and is a collaboration between the federal government and state governments.
Speaking earlier at the event, the representative of the Minister of State FCT welcomed the minister and appreciated her for all she has done.
Thank you for what you have come to do in FCT, for the support you've given FCT in the area of social investment program. And we hope to continue to enjoy the robust relationship we have with the FCT. Thank you very much. You're welcome, ma'am.
This way. This way.
Doing what she does best, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, after the handover of utensils, proceeded to interact with pupils of the LGEA primary school during their feeding for the day. The pupils appreciated the president and the minister for the school feeding initiative.
I will say a thank you to them.
I want to say thank you for the food, and I want to tell them thank you for all what they have been doing for us.
Speaking after the event, stakeholders lauded the homegrown school feeding program as an initiative that boosts learning and increases economic activities.
All the food that is actually being cooked is actually harvested from farmers within the local area. So in essence, the program will now improve the performance of our local subsistence farmers and introduce farming as a business within the community.
It has really promoted school enrollment. Not only promoting school enrollment, it has equally created wealth and employment. As you can see, the vendors there are the cooks. They are being picked or selected from each area council to cook for these children. And this
Glad to know you're still with us on the program Service to Humanity. Proper dissemination of information is critical to the success of any venture or intervention. Access to accurate information is also very important, especially for those who are vested with the responsibility of feeding this information to the public. It is with this in mind that a 2-day media sensitization workshop was organized last week for journalists accredited to the report the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. How did it go? Find out in our next story.
The 2-day sensitization workshop was on effective media reporting of the humanitarian sector. The permanent secretary of the ministry, Bashir Dura Al-Kali, in his opening remarks, stated that the media is one of the critical stakeholders in the ministry and serves as an agent of change. It is therefore ideal, he said, for the journalists to have adequate information and knowledge about the ministry and its agencies to effectively disseminate information to the public. The permanent secretary spoke more on the aim of the workshop.
The aim of the workshop, Honorable Minister, is to educate and sensitize participants on the mandates, programs, and activities of the ministry, as well as expose them to the concept of humanitarian response and how to effectively report the humanitarian sector.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, who was also present at the event, acknowledged the role of the media in educating, informing, creating awareness, sensitizing, and acting as the watchdog of the society.
In the humanitarian sector, The media plays a major role during emergencies and disasters by providing vital information to both the public and the government before, during, and after the incidents. The media educates people about consequences, hazards, and warnings on disasters and alert government for rescue and interventions. Hence, the need for increased collaboration between the ministry, humanitarian actors, and the media. I must state that this workshop was organized to expose you to the operations of the ministry, the functions of the various departments, and the modus operandi of National Social Investment Program for effective reportage of the humanitarian sector.
Facilitators were drawn from various departments to give information on their various departments and areas of specialization for better understanding by the correspondents. Participants at the two-day media sensitization described the workshop as timely, as most people are already asking questions about the ministry. The workshop, they said, will go a long way in giving journalists information to answer most of these questions.
Okay, first of all, I feel it's timely. Reason being, we've been having a conflict. You know, one issue is coming up from every part of the country, and our reportage is very, very important to the public. We need to put the right information and then using the right terminologies. So I personally feel it's timely, and it's also going to help us boost our information.
For me, I think this is a maiden workshop being held by the ministry for journalists covering the activities of the ministry. It's a welcome development and long overdue, and it's to actually acquaint us of activities of various departments and what they are doing in respect of humanitarian activities in Nigeria, especially the coordinating units.
It is apt because it's something that should be done in between times, because times are changing, and with the humanitarian challenges coming up, I think it is pertinent that reporters, especially those covering the humanitarian bit, be trained on effective humanitarian coverage.
Members of the media team of the ministry who put together the workshop spoke on what it was meant to achieve.
Actually, the ministry is quite new. It was established in August 2019, and as a new ministry, we need a lot of sensitization and publicity. And we've had over 60 journalists accredited with this ministry. And we felt it was very important for us to have a forum where we can sensitize them on the operations and the activities of the ministry so that they can write from an informed position.
The workshop was put together by the press unit of the ministry. And it's basically a sensitization to enable the journalists that cover the ministry to be able to have first-hand information about the workings of the ministry, and also to have, both the in-house and external teams of the that cover media for the ministry, understand how to report the humanitarian sector. It is a very sensitive sector, and it requires that those that handle it do so very professionally and along global best practices. So.
Welcome back from that break. Shortly before the immediate past DG of NEMA, AVM Mohammed was reassigned. He submitted the agency's 2020 annual report to the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development in a very colorful ceremony that saw her also commissioning disaster risk reduction equipment. Let's take that story and a brief overview of NEMA's activities in the last 1 year.
The year 2020 was a very significant year as the world was ravaged by the COVID-19 pandemic. The health emergency saw to a complete lockdown of activities throughout the globe. Nigeria as a country also succumbed to the prevailing situation then as major offices, businesses and markets were locked down. That wasn't all, as the nation experienced other natural and man-made disasters from flooding, fire outbreaks, insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, road accidents, pipeline and gas explosions, herders-farmers clashes, communal clashes, cattle rustling, building collapse and the end-SARS protest. All of these had various degrees of repercussions. In all of these, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, working with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, traversed the country, bringing relief to those affected by these disasters, taking charge of distribution of food and other palliatives to states during the lockdown experienced during COVID-19. The agency was also notably present in states ravaged by floods to support farmers with relief materials and inputs to return to the farms. 2020 was therefore a year when NEMA's capabilities and capacity to manage disasters was tested and tried to the fullest. How did it fare? In line with extant laws, the agency is required to present an annual report of its activities to the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, enumerating its activities amongst other things. This it did in a ceremony on the 24th of May 2021.
Destruction of
While presenting a summary of the report, immediate past Director General of NEMA, AVM Mohammed, highlighted some of the activities of NEMA in the year 2020.
Within the year under review, NEMA collaborated with research institutions, centers for disaster risk management and development studies. We also partnered with the Nigerian Center for Disease Control to carry out public awareness against the spread of the COVID-19. Furthermore, in collaboration with UN SPIDER and NASDA, NEMA produced flood maps for efficient response. Thereafter, advocacy visits were made to the 36 states of the Federation and the disaster response units of the armed forces on flood preparedness, mitigation, and response.
AVM Mohammed retired said most of the activities as well as its research and collaborations yielded positive results in the execution of its mandate. The former NEMA DG also extended appreciation to Japan for its support in providing disaster reduction equipment. He concluded with special appreciation to the President and Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, as well as other stakeholders for their support for disaster reduction in Nigeria. In her remarks after being presented with the report, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajj Sadiya Umar Faruk, commended NEMA for a timely submission of its report and all the successes recorded despite the disaster it faced. She urged the agency to exceed the successes of 2020 in providing relief to victims and those made vulnerable by disasters.
I would like to acknowledge and commend NEMA for having the 2020 annual report ready on time, which serves as a clear commitment of the leadership of NEMA. However, I want to admonish you to reflect on the content of the report and forge ahead to exceed the successes you have recorded, especially as we all align our duties to support the policy drive of President Muhammad Buhari in alleviating the plight of our vulnerable citizens and ultimately reduce poverty to the barest minimum, especially at the grassroots level.
The minister also appreciated the government of Japan during the induction of comprehensive disaster risk reduction equipment for search and rescue across the Federation. She urged NEMA to make good use of the equipment.
The importance of standard equipment in the conduct of critical search and rescue operations cannot be overemphasized. I hereby charge NEMA to accept and make judicious use of the equipment in the effective service delivery to humanity.
Other stakeholders present at the event included the Chairman, Senate Committee on Special Duties, Senator Yusuf, and Chairman, House Committee on Emergency and Disaster Management, Olawaye Rahim Tunji, appreciated the government of Japan for the donation made to Nigeria.
Annual reports are documents of accountability, and we are happy that we have this document presented for accountability of what has happened in the last 1 year. Like I said, under the strict eyes of the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs.
The second leg of the event was the induction of the special disaster reduction equipment donated by Japan to NEMA. The equipment are 9 units of rescue vehicles fitted with rescue materials and 4 units of water purifier systems. The ceremony was performed by the minister, after which she inspected the equipment alongside other stakeholders.
Coordinating the nation's humanitarian response is by no means a huge task. But from what we see, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is rising up to the task. The ministry is indeed fully engaged in various activities, all with the sole aim of reducing poverty to the barest minimum. On this note, we wrap up this episode of Service to Humanity. Join me next week for another exciting moment on the program. Good night and stay safe.
wannan labarin ma yana peji na 36.
Ita kuma babban labarin wannan jarida shine ainihin labarin da ke gaban jarida shine ta bayyana cewa
ọkwaji Ikenga eziokwu
nwanne m nwoke
Ikechukwu Ndukwe Igbo mam
iji wee mee ka ụbọchị na-aga n'anya ya
ọjọ́ léwútẹ́lú nù.
Nation fún ti òwúrọ̀ yìí ibẹ̀ náà ti sọ pé àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ ìpínlẹ̀ Benue pàṣẹ wípé.
ní gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀ka ní ẹ̀ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ní ẹ̀ka ètò ìlera ní ẹ̀ka ètò ààbò.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
this vaccine is safe and it has been certified safe and usable by NAFTA.
Revision classes on television for students in secondary schools in English and mathematics will commence on the NTA. The revision classes will transmit Mondays to Fridays from 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA. This is organized in preparation for the various national examinations and orders. This is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Education.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Personally. It's magic. Personally. Personally. Personally, yeah.
Roach Beats.
No lady, I won't play no games. I won't waste no time. Coming for you, she like it. No way. I won't waste my time. Coming for you. Number one, I'm the dada. No the vex, no the paro. Ashina pota puro garanya. Oh yeah. Number one, I'm the dada. I be the best for this anger. Ashina pota puro garanya. However, whenever, however, now you were the ginger me. Oh na. However, whenever, however, now you were the ginger me. Personally, I love your body. No to do anyhow, cause I get the money. Yeah. I'm the man. So high. Come and give it to me sober. Baby girl, I need a soldier. I need a soldier. Yeah. Number one, I'm the dada. No the vex, no the paro. Ashina pota puro garanya. Oh yeah. Number one, I'm the dada. I be the best for this anger. Ashina pota puro garanya.